Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff, Alison McConnell and Tam McManus here with us. Delighted that they're here on the Monday because after a Christmas party on the Saturday, you're always worried in case there are no shows, Ruffy.
Yeah, and some people abuse it more than others. You know,
well, enough about that. She's doing her best. She's had her fair tint of wine, so she's happy.
She went straight to the women's game from the bar.
But no, it was a great day. Great day, and obviously we got a chance to see the England-France game, which was good as well. You know, the bits of it we saw.
Yeah, and we had the best seats in the house, Ruffy.
Oh, it was brilliant. Beautiful. I was just wondering whether you might revisit the final there. I would think that would be possible if we could get seats for the final.
Well, the other thing about it, which is a good shout actually, Ruffy, because you know we're 10 years down the line, and out of the 10 years I've paid for 10.
Yeah.
It would be fantastic if maybe Peter and Ruffy's football show, the other person maybe would contribute.
Yeah,
could you break into your party Thistle signing on
the final in 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
Not talking about this one.
Yeah, anyway, we've got lots to talk about. Of course, we were watching that England-France game. They've fallen at the quarter-final stage. Their manager, Gaal Southgate, is contemplating his future. Of course, there was the big shock with Morocco stunning Portugal, and a crying Ronaldo leaves centre stage, but will that be his last game of the 196 he's played for Portugal? You can give us your thoughts on his performance. Argentina, I love a bit of trash talking, and certainly Argentina came out on top in the penalty kicks. Messi was absolutely magnificent. Give us your thoughts on his performance. Croatia managed to grind Brazil down and take their one and only chance to knock them out. And domestically, we've got, well, we'll have a guess at how much Celtic might cash in on Josip Juranovic. Some people are suggesting 25 million.
That's small.
Yeah, we'll have a discussion on that. And of course, Michael Beale gets off to a winning start in the friendly against Bayer Leverkusen. And well done to the Rangers women with a convincing win over Hibernian in the Sky Sports League Cup final. So we'll try and cram as much of it in as possible. But first and foremost, we've still got a great chance for you to join in. You can join at any stage. We'll let Adam tell you about our World Cup Fandex competition.
You can still join PLZ Soccer on Fandex for our FIFA World Cup 2022 Stock Exchange game. You can play at any stage of the tournament for free, and you have the chance to win cash prizes. Buy shares in your favourite team and watch their stock price increase or decrease based on the real-life World Cup performances against the expected points tally set by Fandex. You can buy and sell as many teams as you like, as often as you like, with winners being announced after every round. The PLZ Soccer family are waiting for you on Fandex. Head to plzsoccer.com and click on Fandex World Cup 2022.
Yeah, great to hear from Shyness, or Adam as we call him. He was in great form at the weekend, wasn't he, Ruffy?
Yeah, he certainly was. The youth of today, you know, no holds back. I remember seeing Tam like that when he was younger.
Yeah,
you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got that Sunday mail as well. It's a great article. Anyway, if you like our World Cup coverage, what about the quiz? Here's our question for today, and it's an absolute belter for you. Basically, how many goals have been scored at this year's World Cup so far, including penalty shootouts? So, how many goals have been scored? Ruffy, do you want to hazard a wee guess at that?
220.
220 with the penalty shootout as well.
Yes.
Okay, Alison, give us your wisdom on this one.
Is it higher or lower? 178.
178.
I think it's as many as that. I'm going to go for 150.
150. Okay. You can give us your thoughts on that as well. How many goals have been scored?
No.
Including well, there was a good 4 or 5, wasn't there? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
6 shootouts.
Penalty shootouts may add to it. Give us your thoughts on it as well. And thanks to so many of you for joining us. Lots of people who've been with us, Ruffy, all the way. Lots of people who've basically 10 years ago were with us and they're still with us now. And people who've joined, told their pals, and they've subscribed to the channel.
Yeah, that's a good thing about it. It's a show of success when you get people right at the very, very beginning are still there after 10 years, so they must be enjoying it.
And the 10 years that we've been together, Ruffy, you know, it's great because it's been fantastic. You're on the after dinner circuit. One day you're a director, next minute you're not a director, then you're back on. You were like swings and roundabouts. You've been an ambassador at Thistle as well. You've had so many jobs, other jobs in that 10 years as well, haven't you?
Yeah, but you've got to earn the crust, haven't you? Not to the football, I may add.
No, absolutely not. Anyway, I'm going to read out quite a few of the people who gave us their thoughts on the games over the weekend. We might as well start with England because it was a huge talking point. And I hate to say I told you so on this one, but I couldn't see England beating France.
We all said 2-1, by the way.
We all said 2-1, didn't we? Yeah.
Hopefully the listeners were on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I thought France just edged it, but there was a moment in the game when the momentum went England's way. You know, I think after the penalty for 10-15 minutes, you know, they looked as if they were going to get another one, and then obviously Giroud came up with a header, which was a fantastic ball into the box, you know, and a fantastic goal. So, you know, I think if you're an England player, you'd be disappointed, really disappointed, you know. And I think the commentator who described the game with Harry Kane's first penalty, when he said Harry never misses.
Yes.
I think he would maybe take that back at the second penalty.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I feel really sorry for him because...
Oh, he's sorry for anybody that misses a penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. He does come across as a thoroughly decent boy who loves playing for his country, and he always, you know, usually, if I was looking for somebody to put my mortgage on, it would be Harry Kane. He goes to the keeper's right side high, and 9 times out of 10 he'll score. And that one has been, you know, it's sailed over, Ali.
I think there's so many different circumstances around that penalty, the one he missed. The fact you've already taken one in the game, the fact you're taking it against a keeper who knows you, who knows your game, the going through your brain as you're setting up to take it must be all kinds of permutations about where you're going to put it and what you're going to do. And I think he looked indecisive. I thought he looked indecisive in the build-up. If you look, he's fixing his socks and stuff. He's not... I had a feeling as he was walking up that he was going to miss it. But I think you do feel... I would feel sympathy for anyone that lost a penalty as well. I think you're brave enough to stand up and take it. I think the pressure of that kind of situation is very, very difficult to replicate, and you make allowances, I think, to even, regardless of how experienced you are as a player. I think the magnitude of that moment and everything that was round about it, I think you forgive it. I think you understand why he was maybe just caught in two minds about what he was going to do.
Yeah, we spoke about in this show about penalties last week.
Yeah.
About practice, and I said when it comes down to it, you've got to keep your nerve, and I thought he lost his nerve.
Do you think
I thought he lost his nerve. I thought he was... I agree with Ali. I think it's difficult to score 2 penalties into the same goalie because do you go the same side, you know, or whatever. His first penalty was great.
If you look at his penalties,
I thought he set it.
But although you're saying he lost his nerve, I mean, we can all offer an assessment on it. If you look at his penalties down through the years, it's not really about... He doesn't bother about the goalkeeper because he looks at the percentages of if you put it high to the right or the left, you know, the keeper dives. You've got a really good chance that they did a study into penalty kicks and where the greatest success was. And the greatest success for penalty kick takers was if you go just above the halfway point of the goal and you put it to the corner.
It's always the highest risk. The highest risk.
It is high risk, but you know he usually
you need to go commit himself.
But the goalie usually always dives. I mean, apart from Gary Lineker's against Brazil in a friendly where he tried to dink and do a Panenka and the keeper said thank you very much. It's the percentage of you think he lost his nerve? Do you?
I think he lost his nerve on the...
No, I don't think so. I just think I just thought he put his foot through it more than what he did in the first one.
Yeah,
and it just went too high for him.
The other thing about it, Tam, which could be summing up this, I thought it was a tale of 2 penalties and a tale of 2 fouls. Because quite simply I thought before France scored the first goal, I thought it was a foul on Saka. I thought that should have been given to England. The other foul on Harry Kane I thought was just outside the box when many people thought he should have been given a penalty for that one in the first half.
Yeah, well, they're having a moan, isn't they, the English press. You've seen that, you know, on social media, Gary Neville, Carragher, all these people are having a moan, but I think on the night of England were probably the better team overall.
Do you think so?
I thought they were the better team overall.
France had 3 or 4 really.
I know,
good
but
chances.
I just thought when it goes to 1 each, I thought England were going to go and win the game. I thought they were better, but didn't take their chances. And again, they fall short against a top nation. With a start the other day, every time they come up against a right good team, they get beat. And the teams that they've beat in big tournaments have you know, they've got
You'd
to.
expect them.
Eventually, he's got to beat somebody like France.
Yeah, I'm
not
glad you
Italy or
mentioned that.
something.
Have a look at since 2006. That graph is the teams they've played against since 2006 and won: Tunisia, Panama, Colombia, Sweden, Slovenia, Paraguay, Trinidad, Ecuador, Iran, Wales, and Senegal. When they come up against any nation that's what you would call in that top 10, Ali, they come a cropper.
Yeah, and I think if you've got aspirations to go and win tournaments like the World Cup, like the European Championships, then you have to be able to live with those kind of countries, and I think you have to have a record of competing and doing well against them prior to getting all the way to the final. I think they will see it as a chance lost for many reasons, and I don't say that to be disrespectful to Morocco, but I thought when it went to 1-1, I thought the momentum had swung England's direction too, and I think had he scored the penalty, I'm not sure that France would have come back into it. I really don't. I thought, I take what you say, I think they probably had the better chances, but I thought momentum seemed to be with England for a good spell in that game, but question marks remain. When you don't take a scalp like that, I think question marks will hang over you as a team. Yeah,
and the other thing about it is England look back on their history, and I don't think I don't fall into the category of constantly England bashing and that anti-English attitude, but if you look at their history in the World Cup, penalty kicks, what about the penalty kicks? Adam Binney had a look at their top 5 that they just couldn't get the penalty that they wanted in the back of the net.
After Harry Kane's infamous penalty miss in England's World Cup quarter-final defeat to France, it seemed like another case of deja vu for England fans. The Three Lions seem to be cursed from 12 yards and have lost 7 of their 10 penalty shootouts in major international tournaments. It got us thinking, what are England's top 5 worst ever penalty misses? At number 5, it's Jamie Carragher for his penalty miss against Portugal in the quarter-final of the 2006 World Cup. This spot could have also gone to Lampard or Gerrard, but Carragher's crucial miss gave Cristiano Ronaldo the decisive kick to knock England out. And at number 4 is Harry Kane. They were 2-1 down with 6 minutes to go, and Kane had already scored a penalty earlier in the game, but the Spurs striker blasted the ball over the bar as England missed out on a semi-final tie against Morocco at the 2022 World Cup. Current England boss Gareth Southgate claims number 3 for his infamous miss against Germany in the semi-final of Euro 96. 11 penalties scored in a row meant that Southgate's woeful attempt dumped England out in sudden death. At number 2, Chris Waddle. England were a penalty shootout victory away from a spot in the 1990 World Cup final, but Chris Waddle's penalty missed the target at 4-3 down in the shootout to send the Three Lions home. And finally, the top spot goes to Bukayo Saka. In England's first major tournament final in 55 years, penalties cost the Three Lions again, this time against Italy. The promising 19-year-old was entrusted with the final spot kick after Rashford and Sancho had already missed, but his effort was stopped by Gianluigi Donnarumma. Well, do you agree with our top 5, or have we missed anyone out? Let us know.
Well, listen, it's all subjective. I mean, at the end of the day, we could have picked from about 15 or 16 people who missed a penalty.
Stuart Pearce.
Stuart Pearce missed one, but he missed one in the game that Waddle missed one. It's painful for England. The one thing I would say, Ruffy, and I think this is the most pertinent point that I think a lot of people will look at from the disappointment of going out, I think England are in a really good place. If they could get 2 centre-halves, I think they've got a chance of winning a tournament the next Euros, because the average age of that side is very young. It's early 20s. So, I mean, I say to you, I didn't think they could win it because of Stones and Maguire.
Well, that was proved, the ball into the box. It's been Scotland's failing as well at centre-halves. Any decent ball into the box, if the 2 centre-halves don't defend it properly, then you're going to lose goals, and that's what happened. But this generation, not all of them, but the majority of them were all in that England under-21 side, that did particularly well in a big European tournament. So they're getting the fruits of that now. They're coming through. Yeah, this will be a wee setback, there's no doubt about that, but certainly the ones that were on show. And I was beginning to think they were good enough to win it, because I haven't seen anybody else who's outstanding.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen anybody as, wow, who's going to beat them? There's nobody.
That was Brazil.
Yeah. But even them, and even the ones that are left, I still think they're beatable. Well,
Well, Gareth Southgate now has to deliberate over his future. This is what he had to say. Obviously, everybody's going to ask him, and some people thought maybe the axe would fall as well. But I found large parts of the last 18 months difficult. For everything that I've loved about the last few weeks, I still look at how things have been for 18 months. After every tournament, I've sat with everybody at the FA and talked things through, and that's the right process to go through again. It takes so much energy out of you, and you have so much going through your mind. I want to make the right decision either way. I don't think now is the time to make a decision like that. Well, I think he's a thoroughly decent man, and he's proved with his record to be a good manager. I think, from the FA's point of view, they'd want to hold on to him.
I do as well. I think he's got 2 years in his contract left as well. So, and the big thing is, who do you bring in? Who's out there that's going to take the job?
Have a look at the early odds for the bookies. Some of them are ridiculous, but nevertheless, what do you think?
Well, I'll tell you right now, the first two, no chance. Potter's not going to leave Chelsea, and Howe's not going to leave Newcastle.
Right.
Steve Cooper, no. Tuchel will be looking for a Champions League job. Gerrard, no. Brendan Rodgers, another one, Pochettino, that was maybe thinking of.
Yeah.
I think again he'd be looking for a Champions League, but I don't think many of them would take the England job at this moment in their career. So it's who do you get in, and I think he's built a great young team. England, they're unlucky, in certain aspects of the game the other night, but I think you would give them another tournament. I think the vast majority of England fans would want them for another tournament. Yeah. I agree with you. I think they've got a big one in them.
Yeah, Pochettino 4-1 as well, and Frank Lampard at 16-1. But listen, it just shows you're looking for someone who's at the right age and the right experience to handle international football. Even talking about Brazil, looking at Pep Guardiola, that's how desperate they are after 24 years of not winning it.
Yeah, generally the international manager is somebody coming to the end of their career. Somebody with a lot of experience, a Jock Stein, a sort of like Ferguson, somebody like that. But the trend's been bucked now. I think that a lot of young managers are prepared to take it on. Some of them successful, some of them aren't. So no, I think he should stay as well. I think the players like working for him. I think we all agree that he comes over very well in interviews before and after games. I think anything he puts out there, he's not hiding anything. So no, I think he'll stay. I think the only people that will chase him will be some segments of the English media.
Yeah. Okay. Brian Watt says Mike Bassett.
Yeah.
The
4-4-2, Benson Hedges up front.
But the comments at this point, descend into, the lunacy of it all. A little bit of I love the banter between Scotland and England. Some of the memes have been fantastic. The one where Harry Kane takes the penalty kick, and then Jack and Victor are sitting in a park in Glasgow, and the ball hits off his trophy. That started the avalanche, didn't it?
Brilliant. It was brilliant. It's super how they can pick that up so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. There's somebody there who's sitting on their own with not a lot to do, who's just ready for it. And of course, some people obviously saying give Michael Beale the job. Earl, I think it's a wee bit too early, maybe a couple of months later, and he would have been tipped for it. Steven Gerrard tipped for the England job again. It just shows you sometimes the bookies just want to take a tenner off you for nothing, don't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it would be sensible for them to keep and Gareth Southgate and stick to a bit of continuity. I think he got to the final and beaten in penalties in the last major tournament, the quarterfinals of the World Cup. I think you can see, as you mentioned, it's a nucleus of a very, very young squad who are all playing at a very high level. I think Jude Bellingham might be one of the real success stories of this World Cup. I think they're certainly moving in the right direction. The only question mark that I might have would be whether or not they want to go for an elite manager. If you want to bring in a manager with a proven record of success, be that domestically or in a previous international arena, and you go for a coach or a manager who can maybe just elevate it that little bit.
Well, they tried that with Capello and it didn't quite work out either, but it's an interesting one. I think they've got a good man there and they've got a really good nucleus of a team, and I think they'll take some stopping in the Euros if they get the defence right.
Is the Argentinian manager the youngest?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Argentina in a minute, Ruffy. Give us your thoughts on Brazil, because when Neymar scored, I thought, right, that's it. They're gone. But then Petkovic, they only had one shot. On target.
Well, I think you got to the stage.
Only won one game so far.
Yeah.
Canada.
I just thought Brazil thought that was enough, and we'll just play lovely football, and we'll look good, and we'll have nice wee touches and all that. And then all of a sudden things like that happen in the game.
Do you think they should have gone for a second?
Yeah, I thought they should have. Yeah, I think they've got the ability to do that, but these things come back to bite you. But they are by miles the best team to watch.
Yes.
You know, for their technique and the passes and the slickness and all that. But that always doesn't win you games.
Yeah, absolutely. Rodrigo taking the first kick, missed it. And then Marquinhos, his shot hit the post. And I think Dominic Livakovic saving Rodrigo's just kind of set the tone for the whole thing. Why did Neymar not take the first penalty?
Because he wanted the glory to be the fifth.
Well, I've seen that before,
He
Tam.
goes
It comes back and
out of
bites you in the
control,
backside, doesn't it?
And that's why I was glad the other night when Argentina, Messi was up. He was up, I think he maybe took it for the first or second. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he was up early. Get your best penalty takers out.
I thought-
Because he might not get to the fifth one.
Second.
Was Messi second? I thought he was first.
I thought he was first.
No, he's first. The two captains went up. Van Dijk went up first for Holland. And then
I thought he was
Messi.
second.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I
Messi
thought
went
it
up
was
first.
Ruffy's
Yeah.
make me doubt myself here, and he
To
doesn't
be
even
fair-
know it's 2022.
To be fair, I mean, his first penalty, he's rifled it into the net. Fantastic. In a penalty shootout, you're rolling it past the keeper. I mean, honestly, it was outrageous, wasn't it?
He's missed a few as well, Messi, hasn't he?
Has
Can I just say to you, Tam, is that I was sitting in the chair when he played the pass, and he's not even looking, and I actually had to. I mean, I shouted out. I couldn't believe the pass. I mean, it was outrageous. I mean,
It was like you doing the fives.
Well, my wife and my daughter came in. They were like, "What's up?" And I said, "I'll tell you what's up." He's just played the most outrageous, brilliant pass I've seen in a long while.
Nah, it was absolutely fantastic. He wasn't even looking. He just knew instinctively where the
boy's
play
legs.
was, and
Passed
right
it
in
through
his
the boy's
right in
legs.
his path. And but that's the magic he brings. I don't think it's a great Argentina team. I think they're dogged. You know, they're hard to break down. They're hard to beat.
Was the '86 side a great Argentina side?
No, but I think Messi's going to have to do the same. He's going to have to carry them the next couple of games to win it.
Yeah, I think you're right, Tam. I'll tell you one thing though. I mean, 2-0 up, I thought they were cruising, and then all of a sudden, and by the way, I know there are purists. And sometimes I think myself, I'm a bit of a purist with how you want football to be played. But if you walk into a ring with George Foreman, and you know George Foreman can beat the living daylights out of you, Ali, you have to work out a rope-a-dope plan. And boy, did Louis van Gaal ditch the total football for a big, giant,
Route
tall
one,
guy.
Just get the ball out. The two big guys out. Even at the end, I think Van Dijk was kind of hanging about up at the end. It was just get balls in the box. But in saying that, you would have to applaud the free kick as well.
Free kick's brilliant.
It was clever. It was just so unexpected, so really unpredictable. Caught everyone unaware, and you get the goal out of it. But like you, I thought 2-0 up. It's safe to, start pouring a glass of wine here and relax and get ready for time off. And I couldn't believe when it came back to 2 each. But it was just a compromise of style. Just total football out the window, and just route one. Can you get yourself back into it? And then when it goes to 2-1, it's an odd scoreline. I think 2-1's always a
Nervy.
delicate scoreline. Like the next goal would be so crucial. And then to 2 each, and then I think obviously plenty of chat going on in the game, and plenty of chat in the penalties.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'd love to have been working at it as a journalist, because the after-match interviews were absolutely fantastic. I mean, Messi has absolutely slaughtered the boy Weghorst. Because he, and by the way, I'll tell you even better than that. Not only is he giving him pelters, Ruffy, the Argentina fans and all the merchandise guys have now got T-shirts printed, which is, "What are you looking at, stupid? Clear off," because that's what he says. I mean, I know.
Very unusual to see Messi like that emotional.
I like it.
I liked it.
I don't know, there was a Facebook Van Gaal before the game, and he was asking them all about the Argentina team, and he said they're a very good side and that, and then the boy went on to ask him about Messi, and he says, out of possession, he's a man down. That's what he said on the thing.
Yeah,
Is that right?
That's how he was giving it the ears to him.
No, I think that stretched back to Raquelme. I think he was dismissive of Raquelme as well at one point. So I think Messi
Dutch
was
are not arrogant anyway, so you wouldn't.
He did say though, Messi. He said they were disrespectful to us, and their coach was disrespectful too. So there was certainly all kind of things. But at one point, both benches were often involved.
I see the referee's been sent to him for that game.
Well, the one thing I was...
40 yellow cards.
Well, the reason why I'm mentioning
Bring
that
people
too
on the
is
bench.
17 yellow cards, 1 red card for Dumfries. But I liked the goalkeeper for Argentina, Emi Martinez, because he just didn't hold back. He just leathered them. He just said that Van Gaal should shut his mouth, and the referee was useless. You just can't be that. Ali, how many times have we been at? I mean, you pick them out it's once every 2 years when you sit in there in a press conference and you go, "Yeah, dancer, here we go." He's having a go, but he was brilliant, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was great. I think, for you and I, that's what we live for. Come out, tell us what you really think.
Yeah.
No sitting on the fence, just
brilliant.
come out and tell us. But I think when you're a neutral and you're not invested in it, you're watching it from the sideline, I think it adds to the entertainment.
Yeah, let's not forget, Ruffy, as Ali mentioned there, we're all talking about Argentina when they lost to Saudi Arabia right at the start.
Yeah, there was a few strange ones right at the very, very beginning, but like Tam says, I still don't think they're a great side, but they've got Messi in it, and you've got somebody like that who could make that one pass that gets you a goal. It's always a head start, and you're always expecting him to do something. You're always expecting when the ball comes in his direction that something's going to happen.
Ali, what do you make of Tam's line from Friday? If Messi guides Argentina to the World Cup, he's the greatest ever. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yep.
I think he's up there. I think
up there or there.
Up there.
He's a man. Come on.
I think history will frame him in a very particular kind of bracket. I think he's definitely on that stage.
Does he go above Maradona?
If you look at it purely on statistical evidence of what both of them have won, of all the honours, I think he probably would.
Yeah. No, I think if he wins the World Cup, Ruffy, he goes to number 2. I think he's the second best player ever.
Champions League.
Kenny Dalglish one.
Eh? No, calm your jets. When Kenny comes up to the studio, I'm going to tell him exactly what you're saying. Ruffy.
No,
Pele.
of our era it's Pele. Of our era it's Pele. Of our era it's Pele, but Messi.
bounce games.
Ruffy, forget the bounce games.
Exhibition games.
What were you doing at 17?
When you getting thrown out of a nightclub.
Exactly. Pele was lobbing the ball over 2 Swedish players and rifling it in for his second goal at 17. Pele. He didn't even need Viagra at that point. He was absolutely sensational. But listen, it's all subjective. Lots of people are having a go about it all. Derek Smith says best player of his generation. Messi is not close to the likes of Maradona. Ronaldo is even better. Maradona for me, says James Skeen. It's just unbelievable. Matt says Peter can't accept the fact that Messi is 10 times the player Maradona was.
Correct,
10
Correct,
times.
Matt.
10 times the player Maradona was.
That's a bit exaggeration, I think.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to have a relook. I need to have a relook at the Maradona best of and see, and just remind me of how good he was.
Well, see, to be honest with you, I mean, I love the argument. It's a great pub argument, but we've had that much wine. I think we've got a kind of a Colcani on it. But Ali, Maradona played, and Pele played at a time when guys like Claudio Gentile could rip the shirt off his back
Could boot him up and down.
and boot him up and down from the back end. And remember, the goal he scored against England, as Gary Lineker mentioned, the turf hadn't quite knitted, so it was giving way under your feet, and he's gone past 5 or 6 top drawer England players.
Yeah, I think everyone goes on about the hand of God goal, but the other goal in that game
It's
is
the best goal ever.
I was just about to say, it's just extraordinary pieces of skill, and I think sometimes you have to accept that people playing across different eras, I think it's very difficult to compare because of what you're just talking about, the climate, when you're playing, the surfaces, the way that rules were applied within the game. I think sometimes you just have to stand back and applaud generational talents.
Yeah, I love the age group that watches this programme, Ruffy. It's all over the place. Stuart Derrick says, Maradona wouldn't have made that pass. If you look back to the 1986 World Cup final, from the middle of the park, Maradona plays a pass that literally takes out every German and sets Burachaga on his way.
I need to have a look at that on YouTube because I was only 4.
Yeah. Were you in a nightclub then? Yeah.
No.
And Michael Crook says Messi and Ronaldo would not survive football in the 80s. I think they would have, Ruffy.
Oh, the skill would have got them through, but they would have got fouled the same as everybody else. And the refereeing, I think, is a lot more stringent now than what it was way back then.
Yeah, it's a great argument. Anyway, just on that point, Morocco, Ruffy, are Morocco going to do a Greece and win the World Cup? By the way, they've 8 clean sheets out of 9 games.
Yeah, and the reason I'm saying they're not going to win it is because the goalkeeper has been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's got them there.
Yeah, 7 clean sheets in 8 games.
I think they're a very competent team, but I think I always worry when the goalkeeper's the man of the match. It means other teams are having avenues, having shots at goal, saves.
Ash, as a keeper, do you think the keeper made a Diego Costa for Youssef En-Nesyri's goal?
Yeah, probably. I think he would admit that he came. If he's going to come for it, he's got to get it, a punch or whatever, but he just missed it completely.
To be fair, by the way, Gordon McQueen would have headed that clear.
Exactly, and I'd have been standing watching him.
On your line?
Yes. Somebody deal with that. Deal with that.
And big Gordon would not have let you down, absolutely.
Morocco have done really well, but they're going to come. It's going to come to an end against France.
Yeah.
I don't see France no beating Morocco. I think Morocco are 91 to win it. That means if you put a tenner on, you lose a tenner.
Ali?
Yeah, I think this is probably where it ends. I think, but I'll qualify that by saying I don't think it'll be easy. I think they are a hard team to play against.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll go through. I think this is probably the end of the road for them. I think it'll be France, Argentina.
But they're definitely one of the teams you've got to score first against.
Aye.
Oh, absolutely.
If you score first against them, they've got to change everything that they believe in to win games.
Even Croatia are like that, Ruffy, aren't they?
Oh,
they're dogged.
Yeah.
I mean, if they get the first goal, then Argentina are really going to have to do something special because they'll just sit right in behind the ball. But the one man that was going up the tunnel with tears in his eyes was Ronaldo, because he knows it's the end of the road. It's 196 caps. It's equalled the world record. I think if you're from Portugal, you can look at this with passion and say he has put himself out there for his country. His record of achievements, helping them to the European Championships, albeit he was, he picked up an injury, but he's been unbelievable. I mean, there are people who don't like him in this country because of the nature of the interview and the last months of Manchester United, but I think over a period of time, people are going to reassess him. Yeah,
I think just even the length of time of his career, you think he'd really come onto the scene as a 17-year-old, how long he's kept himself fit, but not just fit, but hungry, how long he still wanted it, he's trained hard. I think it's been a sad end to his career in some ways. I think it's been quite a sour end, given the exploits that he's enjoyed and the career that he's had. I think he would probably have wanted to bow out differently. I think the sitting on the bench and the falling out with the coach and the manner of the exit at Man United. I think his stature in the game, he would probably have wanted to go out in a different vein.
I still think he might want to play on for a couple of years, Tam, but I'm a big fan, and I think you've got to at some point reevaluate that, and look at the criticism and say, okay, that's a small part of a boy who has gone head to head with Messi and given every one of us for a 10-year period unbelievable football, unbelievable goals and trophies and wins and goals in big games.
No, I think the two of them coming through obviously at the same time has drove each other on. I think how many times did you see when Ronaldo was at Real Madrid and Messi was at Barcelona? One would play in the afternoon and score a hat trick, and then the next one would reply with a hat trick. They've drove each other on. I think they've been good for each other. Everybody's got their own opinion, if they're a Ronaldo fan or a Messi fan. I think Ronaldo, in terms of his professionalism, is one of the best players that's ever lived. I think he played at his level. At this level, he's still at 38, 39. It's fantastic for him. But I'm a Messi fan. I think Messi's more talented, but I think that Ronaldo will go down as one of the top 4 or 5 of all time. I think when he won the Euros with Portugal, I think that elevated him. It's okay doing it with your club teams, and he's played with big clubs, Man United, Real Madrid, teams like that. I think when you do it with Portugal, no disrespect, not a huge nation, when you win the Euros with them, you elevate yourself into that top 4 or 5.
Yeah. And
that's why I think Messi will be, if he wins the World Cup with Argentina, will go up into top number 1.
Yeah. Where do you stand on it, Ruffy?
I'm Messi. I'm not bothering about Ronaldo at Man United. You know, I think that was just something that happened. You know, and I don't know the right details of it all, what happened behind the scenes, who said whatever. So I'm sticking to the football, and they're two completely different players. You know, they're just the way they play. They're two completely different players. They don't play the same. They don't do the same things. But they put the ball in the back of the net. That's the main thing.
That's the other thing. I mean, Messi skill, I think, for me, if I was picking what I'd say, Messi, the ultimate. But it's very, very fine lines here, because not only has Ronaldo won titles in different countries, he also started out as a number 7 and then moved to be a number 9. He played 2 different positions and absolutely was blistering in both of them. You know, he didn't play a number 10 and he's a number 10. He was number 7 and then he moved into number 9 at Real Madrid as the years went on, and he changed his style of play. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we remember in the early days as a winger, you know, an out-and-out winger. I mean, Messi's never been a winger. Never been anywhere near that. You know, he does a different style of football. It's just the way he is. You know, his stature isn't the same as Ronaldo's. They're not built the same. They're just different kind of players with the end results.
Yeah, David Gemmell makes that very same point, and he did say Ronaldo has done it in other countries. David just read that there now. Full marks to you as well. Listen, it's a great argument. I'm not going to read that one out, but it kind of it sums up some of the comments that we get. Try and keep your comments decent, and remember there are other people here who might not be of your age.
He's got a point, but
he has got a point, but nevertheless, not going to read it out. So here's the scores from the quarterfinals. And I think, as you'll see, Croatia won, Brazil won, that went to penalties. Croatia in the end winning it. Netherlands 2, Argentina 2. Argentina win that 4-3. Morocco 1, Portugal 0, and England 1, France 2. That's the quarterfinals, and now suddenly it's going to be tomorrow night. We'll all be in, surely watching it. Surely you're not. Nobody's doing anything other than watching this match. Ali, I've got to ask you, here's the semi-final draw. Give us your teams.
Argentina and France.
Ruffy, are you changing from that?
No, I really do hope it's Argentina and France, because I think we'll get a game in that one. I think if Croatia and Morocco get in there, it would be a wee bit of a damp squid.
Yeah, I think if either of those teams get in there.
No, I totally agree. I hope it's Argentina, France. I think that would be Mbappe and Messi. You know, I don't think either team would sit in and park the bus. Both would be confident winning the game. But it has been a World Cup with quite a few shocks.
Can I ask you this as an SFA coach? Should we be ashamed that Croatia, with a country of just over 3 million, are producing technically gifted players, technically gifted team, making it to World Cup finals, and of course into the semi-final again? I
just think that they have got a golden generation. I think that this team obviously got to the final 4 years ago.
Oh, hang on, they've had 2 golden generations.
Yeah, I know, but you know, obviously the breakup of Yugoslavia. You know, technically they were always fantastic. You know, so you look at Serbia as well, who are a great team.
Modric. You know, you've
got world class players.
Player.
We've not got that one or two.
But they had Prozinecki before him. They had Davor Šuker before him. They've had absolutely top drawer players. In the last 30 years, if you to look at the Croatia players, Ruffy, they're absolutely top drawer.
I always seem to remember right down. I always remember that Czech strip. It seemed to be every World Cup final.
Once you got to 1992 and that Yugoslavia had broken up, but prior to that, I mean, Yugoslavia I think it was the 1990 World Cup, they were a fantastic side, and then suddenly they all break up. But Croatia, you know, with just over 3 million, I mean, they must be doing something right. I mean, you know, we've tried to follow the think tank of Rinus Michels.
It was the same with Iceland. Remember a few years ago they were doing well.
But you wouldn't have copied Iceland, would you?
I know, but that was everybody. How can Iceland do it? Sometimes you just get a generation of players, and they all come through at one time.
Yeah. Anybody then? It's all Argentina, France.
Yes, for me.
Okay. We teamed up with Grieve Sports and also Copa to give you the chance to win one of 6 vouchers on offer in a fabulous competition. Retro shirts, they're all the rage, and Kerry has the details.
PLZ Soccer has teamed up with our friends at Grieve Sports and Copa to offer you the fabulous chance to win one of these World Cup retro shirts if you enter our World Cup hat-trick competition. All you have to do is tell us who you think will win the World Cup, finish top goal scorer, and who will be declared player of the tournament. The person who gets all 3 correct will go into a draw to win one of 6 vouchers to choose their very own retro World Cup shirt from the Grieve Sports website. And if you don't get all 3 correct, then don't worry. You can still subscribe to our YouTube channel for a chance to win. To enter, simply submit your answers in the feed below, and if you want to double your chances of winning, then make sure you subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. The winner will be announced on the day of the World Cup final. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck with the competition. It's well worthy of entering it, and as I mentioned before, Ruffy and I were in at Grieve Sports to see some of those retro shirts, and there's a couple behind us, Ruffy, but they're fantastic.
Yeah, they are, and the one that I did look at was the Cameroon one. The Cameroon's very colourful,
the belter,
and they're still here, so we'll have to pick, if we're on air in the final, we'll have to pick a team to wear a strip on the day.
Yeah, Ali, if you had to pick one that the old retro one that really caught your imagination, what would it be?
Argentina.
Yeah, you'd pick that one, Tam?
Peru.
You're just a noise upper.
I'm just I think the Peru strip, just that red stripe is iconic.
Yeah,
especially that as well.
Yeah,
Ruffy in the World Cup.
Yeah, just a quick look over his shoulder.
I'm not going for that, son.
Exactly.
Better dive.
Yeah. I don't even think. Did you? You didn't dive.
I dived.
Did you?
Back in.
Catch it on the way back out, Ruffy. Brilliant. Hey, at least you were there.
Yes.
As you have often reminded us on
3
many a show.
3 times.
Exactly. Okay, that's the competition. What about some of the domestic issues that we want to talk about? It was a 3-0 win, Tam, for Rangers. Michael Beale's chance to wave to the Rangers fans, quite a few Rangers fans who made the journey for the friendly against Bayer Leverkusen on Saturday.
Yep, good result, good performance, positive. I think when you get as a new manager, you impress straight away. Obviously they've got a huge game coming up against Hibs, but good warm up for them. Tillman, who I think showed flashes of the player that he can be, he's not done enough. I've seen somebody speaking this morning, he would cost 5-6 million to buy him. I don't think he's shown that he's that kind of player. The Rangers can buy him for that money, but maybe Beale got a tune out of him. And I think it was him that scored the goal against Motherwell. He went right through 4 or 5. So he's got that quality, but he's got to show it more regularly. And they changed the system a little bit. They played with the 2 strikers. They played a high press. Also heard Michael Beale this morning saying that they're not fit enough, to play his style of play. He wants them to be fit to go and play the high press. So I think they're going to see a different Rangers from you've seen under Van Bronckhorst. You're going to see a team that's pressing for the front, high tempo, and try and win the ball further up the pitch. So, listen, it's a good start, but the bigger test to come, starting with the mighty Hibs during the week. Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at the goals, Tavernier, the provider for Tillman on 2 of them, and then Alfredo Morelos set up the other one for Scott Arfield. The positives out of the game, is Connor Golson and Ben Davis closer to coming back. So he's going to get players back, obviously not as quick as he would like. But the other really positive thing, I think, for a lot of Rangers fans is Adam Devine, Robbie Fraser, Charlie McCann, Alec Lowry, all getting a run out.
I think so. I think it's probably just important too. It's the first opportunity to look at a new manager, at a new team. I think you want to buy into the positivity that surrounds the appointment. I think crucially that will come when they play Hibs this week, but I think it's probably important just to showcase some of the early work that's been done. I think all Rangers can do is look to win their games, build up a head of steam, get some momentum going, and ask questions of Celtic. If Celtic were to drop points unexpectedly, you saw earlier in the season against St Mirren, then all of a sudden it becomes a bit more nervy than what it is, or a wee bit more antsy than what it looks like just now. It looks like a straightforward procession for Celtic at the minute. I think all Rangers can do is make sure they're winning games and ask questions of them, and then when you get to the summer, it's an opportunity to prepare for a new campaign. Yeah,
and Rangers fans will want to celebrate the news. Leon King signed a new extension until 2026. Now, potential is one thing, but when you've got a young player like that, at least you're giving him the chance. He's got security, and if he can develop the way the coaching staff think he can, Ruffy, then suddenly you've got him on a contract that you might get, a good figure for him if he was going to be sold on.
Yeah, I'm sure the Rangers supporters would be hoping that they could get a young boy coming in and maybe hold on to him a wee bit longer than the boy Patterson was. I think if they can look to the future and build on the youth that they've got, even the young boy you mentioned there, Devine, if they could, Devine, King, you know, and hold on to them for maybe 2 or 3 years, you know, and give them a lot of experience. But as we all know, that if other clubs come in with a lot of money, then they're going to sell. But I've always said that I think supporters at big clubs love seeing young players coming through. Tierney at Celtic, coming through as a young boy and being there for a wee while and then moving on. So I think that's the way ahead for these teams.
Yeah, and just on that point of Thursday's game, Tam, Lee Johnson says the side are very close to where he wants them to be. It's an interesting one. He is going to have to trim that 28-man squad. He's admitted it himself. He's going to have to trim it to try and bring some quality in.
Yeah, it's a huge squad. You know, I was looking at it the other day actually, and you're right. There's so many players in that squad. There's a lot of players out injured, obviously, but he needs to get 5 or 6 out. That's never going to play, and he needs to try and get 2 or 3 starters in. He obviously has got Aidan McGeady coming in. Be interesting to see if he starts the game. I think it'd be great with Blockbuster if Aidan starts.
Yeah.
Kevin Nisbet will play. So, listen, Hibs need to go and put in a real top performance to get a result. You know, I didn't see it before the break. He's had plenty of time now to work with the squad over the last few weeks. He's getting some players back. Rangers will be buoyant. You know, new manager coming in. The atmosphere will be electric as it always is at Ibrox. So it's a real tough game, but you know, Hibs need to kind of hang in there the first 20-25 minutes. You know, don't concede, and then see if Rangers get a wee bit nervy in the second half.
Yeah, and if I can offer you some advice, not that I need to offer you advice, Ali, but I think this is absolutely crucial because sometimes we can be forgetful. This is time for long johns, I'm just telling you, because I'm going to Aberdeen on Saturday and it's going to be Baltic, and I'm not looking forward to the drive up. And Ruffy and I, when we were out doing the commentary, I said to him, look, you need to wear your long johns because it's going to get really cold. And Ruffy decided to wear an all-in-one at Dundee, half time, went to the toilet and couldn't get back for the second half. That's all I'm saying to you, Ali. You need to put a bit of thought into it.
Maybe an all-in-one, just as not an image you want to ever think of it.
Harold?
Was that cat suit?
It was unbelievable. I don't care. As long as I'm not in a crash, Ali, I'm wearing long johns, you name it, thermal gloves, thermal socks.
I have to tell you, my best investment has been a heated Geely.
Oh, I was going to say the heater.
A body warmer that you
is it
charge
good?
up. It's
Did you get it for Aldi or Lidl's?
No, it's from
You've got them in the middle shelf, by the way. Just letting you know.
It's fantastic. It's
Does it work? Yeah.
It's good, obviously under your big Parker, and it's supplemented with your long johns and your hand warmers, your fleeces.
Yeah, socks a lot.
What size are you at the game? Well, we recognise you.
she's going to feature and it's a knockout after it. No, but you do need it, Ruffy.
Oh,
it's mental.
definitely.
What's the worst part? What's the worst part? Dundee's terrible.
Thistle was cold.
Yeah, it's a cold.
Falkirk when I was Falkirk horrendous. East End Park. Do you not take the wee portable electric heater with you?
Oh, I know who
in the
does that.
backpack?
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to plug it in. Health and safety.
Well,
Is that right? Oh, I know a few.
Can't believe it.
No,
I
you
left
can't.
him out.
No, you can put.
I used to do it when I was doing the games.
Yeah, you can.
Take the wee heater.
You can bring a heater. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. The fans will be doing that as well. The one thing is, you know, going over the beach. I mean, you'll have to listen to Gordon Strachan and Mark McGee talk about when Fergie used to say to him, "You're training on the beach." You know,
Used to send them there if they were injured, and he didn't believe they were injured. They would go and get them
Alan McLeish must have took that for
standing in the
Fergie.
North Sea.
Yeah.
Because we used to train at Portobello Beach with Hibs.
Oh, terrible.
Horrendous.
Talking about that, we'll be back
Goals is
to
goals.
we'll be back to domestic issues. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. We've missed the domestic football.
Yeah,
Aberdeen Celtic's a belter at the weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, that World Cup's been good, but I'm desperate for the bread and butter Scottish football. Get it back, you know, and it's a great weekend. You know, some big games. Obviously, starting off with Rangers Hibs, and then Aberdeen Celtic. You know, I think that's 12:30 on Saturday, and then I think Hearts are at home to Kilmarnock. So some big games coming up, and it's going to be a tight race for that third place as well. If everybody thinks Celtic have won the league, I include that, but you never know if Rangers can win 3 or 4 out of 4. You know, coming up to that Old Firm game and win that, then it's back on. But you just don't see it.
Yeah. As far as Celtic are concerned, a couple of people have been talking. Moritz Jens wants to make his loan move from Lorient permanent. That'll be interesting. His interview was interesting in the paper when he said Celtic is old school, Celtic is mysterious, Celtic is pure football, and above all, Celtic is a religion. I was wearing it and saying, but when the trawlers follow the sardines on the ship. But he did say something but in the interview, just a little bit further down, he did say, Scottish football is extremely physical. The strikers are very hard. Trash talk and concealed kicks against any part of the body are apparently normal in Scotland. It's certainly been an eye-opener for him, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think he's done all right. I think he was probably put in earlier than anticipated because of injury issues. Carol Starfelt being out and Cameron Carter-Vickers was out for a while. Yeah, I think it would probably make sense to make it a permanent deal. He's not shy either. He's quite a good speaker when we've had him. Quite like the cut of his jib. I think it's one that could come to fruition. Yeah.
How much is Josip Juranovic worth?
Well,
I phoned Charlie Adam and he reckons about 250,000, just tops. Chris Sutton says 25 million. What do you say?
8 to 10.
8 to 10 million?
Yes.
Yeah. I think they might get a few more quid than that, Ruffy.
Celtic will take 8 to 10.
I think they might get 15 for
Would they sell him buy him for 2?
2.5.
I'm for 2, but I think this World Cup has
Didn't they go on
elevated
10?
them.
Again, it depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the team, doesn't it? It depends who it is. I think it's a championship team in England, or even a Premiership team. You're talking 15.
Yeah. He's not going to a championship. I think
Atletico Madrid and a couple of English Premier League.
I think they might get between 10 and 15 for him. I might be a listener.
They'll be absolutely expecting minimum. That minimum. I think they'll set the bar.
Okay, let's see who's going to get egg in their face. Give us I'll go 14, Ruffy.
I'll go 12.
I'll go higher than 15. Somewhere between 15 and 20.
I'll go 11.2 plus add-ons.
You've just said 8.
I said 8 to 10.
Right, okay.
I'll go 11.2 plus add-ons.
Right, okay. Yeah, numpty.
Ali seems very confident there.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's heard something, so I've got a wee bit.
So the 2 new players won't play until January 1st, but Johnson and Kobayashi are in there. So this is the great battle now. Celtic could possibly, when that window opens, might get 1 or 2 more in. Michael Beale will definitely want to get some in. And then the teams we've been talking about, Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen. It'll be interesting to see what kind of signings they can make to try and make a push. I'm looking at Hearts and some of the injured players that if they could get, Beningami's return to fitness, it's still on track. He's still a wee bit away, but if he could come back, that would be a huge boost for them in the middle of the park for Hearts.
Yeah, he was sensational at the beginning of the season. One of the better buys. I'm surprised nobody's delved in. They've had a long time to go for players with this World Cup being on. I'm surprised nobody's made a signing. I don't mean Rangers and Celtic, I mean other
Windows
teams.
open yet.
I know, but I mean actively lining it up for as soon as it happens, just to
it might
to
be
go for it.
What you do is you just read the first 2 pages and go, that rubbish, flyer, in a darkened room, Ali, that's the way we do it, that's it. You know, you've got to, what do you do? You phone an agent and he goes, I'm not even going to jump in, Ali. No, I mean that's the way it is. Agents want to get the players moved on, and we all absolutely relish somebody saying, "Oh, he's definitely saying, oh, just fire it out then."
The point I was trying, I know the window's no. The point I was making, I'm sure there'll be clubs, managers with 3 or 4 players just waiting to tick the box.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, through the agents and through dealing to see available.
Yeah, once you've stood it up the second time, then when you run with it, it's absolutely...
Oh, so you don't check the 2 sources? Wow. Have you dropped a source?
I said once you've checked it the second time.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Well, there's games at New Year, isn't there? January the 2nd and 3rd, I think, so...
No card on the 2nd?
If there's... Yeah. If Ruffy's right there'll be a lot of signings in January the 1st.
I think
in January the 2nd.
I think the biggest problem here
is... to get in first.
We're looking for an Old Firm game coming up in January the 2nd, Ruffy, that if Michael Beale can make an impression and at least cut the gap, suddenly I think January 2nd doesn't become the game that could make or break the title.
You
know what I mean by that?
I think we've always talked about other games, Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen. I think I've talked to a couple of Rangers supporters, they think Aberdeen, Celtic and Saturday might be the start
They what?
A start of Celtic dropping points because they've been inactive. It's the first game it's up there. We know Aberdeen usually put a shift in against the Old Firm. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but they will be looking at it.
Not dismissing it.
They'll be looking
at to know where the evidence is.
No, there's no evidence, but they'll be psychologically looking and saying, this could be one of the games.
It will be, because Aberdeen have been excellent at home this season. I think they've scored a lot of goals, so I think Ruffy's right there.
I think the only team lost his Motherwell at the start of the season.
Well, when we get to Friday, I hope you're going to be tipping Aberdeen.
No, I'm not saying they're going to do it. I'm just saying some people will believe that keeping their eye on that scoreline.
Right, okay, fine. Just before we give you the answer to the quiz, don't forget, we've been running this World Cup Fandex competition since the start of the World Cup. It's just basically playing with it. It's absolutely free to play. You just invest in some of the countries. There's 4 left. You can still join. You can still win cash prizes, as Adam tells us.
You can still join PLZ Soccer on Fandex for our FIFA World Cup 2022 Stock Exchange game. You can play at any stage of the tournament for free, and you have the chance to win cash prizes. Buy shares in your favourite team and watch their stock price increase or decrease based on their real-life World Cup performances against the expected points tally set by Fandex. You can buy and sell as many teams as you like, as often as you like, with winners being announced after every round. The PLZ Soccer family are waiting for you on Fandex. Head to plzsoccer.com and click on Fandex World Cup 2022.
Yeah, good luck with that. Well done to Adam there, and Adam will be out there at most of the press conferences as we get ready. Adam and Kerry covering all those press conferences. I'll be out at a few. We'll be covering the games. Alison, of course, some new reporters joining us as well. Tam, we're making signings in the transfer window.
Yeah, that's good. You always like competition for places.
Yep.
And if you've got somebody of a high calibre breathing down your neck, it's always going to elevate your performance as well. Well, that's why Ruffy stepped up this last couple of weeks.
I think so. I thought you were going to say this last 4 years. Yeah, but there's always got to be a signing, Ruffy, that we like to bring in that can noise us up. I thought Charlie for a couple of years was absolutely blistering after the badge kisser had gone.
Yeah, I thought he'd done particularly well. He sort of just drove off an edge, didn't he?
Yeah. What do you think he tailed off, Charlie?
But he said drove off an edge. I meant probably not.
You're a bad man. Anyway, I thought Charlie was absolutely top drawer, but I really do hope he becomes a manager in the future, Ruffy. It would be absolutely fantastic.
His first press conference.
You can imagine him training young boys just on the halfway line, just volleying shots. This is how you do it.
The first press conference, your striker's doing really well. You get 45 million.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
scored 3 goals. 45 million.
His transfer fees were absolutely sensational. That was the favourite thing I loved about Charlie, by the way. As soon as
a number multiplied by 5.
Well, if he was wearing blue and he had an RFC there, Charlie liked to add another 5 or 10 on. It was absolutely magnificent. We absolutely loved him. Tell you, just before we go, a couple of things. I'll give you an answer to the quiz. But Rangers ladies 2-0 against Hearts. I thought Lizzie Arnott's goal was an absolute belter, and then even Kirsty Howitt's goal was a good one. I don't think Hibs offered anything. No,
they never looked likely to lay a glove on Rangers. I think Rangers have shown over the last 18 months that they are the emerging dominant force, I think, within the Scottish women's game. They've invested in their women's side, and I think they are seeing the fruits of that just now. I think the last season beating Glasgow City to a title that they held for 18 years and then winning the League Cup for the first time yesterday. I think they would be hot favourites now to go and win a treble. Yeah, okay, we'll keep our eye on that. Rangers the dominant force, Glasgow City, and is there another team going to emerge? The quiz answer. Well, we did ask you, Ruffy, and we gave you as plenty chances as possible on this. The quiz is fairly straightforward, which is how many goals have been scored at this year's World Cup so far, including penalties in the shootout. What did you go for, Tam?
I went for 150.
What did you go for, Ruffy?
120.
You went for 220. You went for 220.
I went for 158.
158. Well, it was 60 games with penalties, 175.
She's seen it.
I know she did.
I said 170. I thought I'd seen it.
It's 100. Did you say 170? What's 170? What's 175?
All right.
So you won anyway, Ali. But it was 158 goals without the penalties.
She's seen that.
And 175. No, do you know what I did? I deliberately put it at the bottom because you always read it and cheat. So I put it at the bottom. So I thought, I'm not going to let them see it until we get to the very end. But quiz answer: 60 games with penalties, 175 goals, and 158 goals without penalties.
So I get 10 bonus points for the predictor. That was what we were saying about it.
And Ruffy was 220. He gets 10 off.
He loses 10
off.
I can afford 10.
I think as the
I can afford 10. Take 10.
as the predictor kicks in, Ali, you might need snookers. You're going to have to really get off to a flyer, Ruffy. Loser takes everybody out.
Oh, no.
And can I just say something to you? Predictor next season, at the start of next season, is going to be very, very special, Ruffy. That's all I'm telling you. I have been putting in the miles to make sure that suddenly people who think they know better will be able to join us.
And will they be in the, if they're last, whoever joins us,
right.
if they're last, will they have to take us out?
No, but there's prizes.
They can if they want.
There's cash prizes, there's special prizes as well, wee bits of memorabilia, Tam. It's going to be really, really good.
You get plenty of memorability giveaway, so you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks to everyone for today. It's been a really good crack and, of course, chat on football as ever. Tell your friends, share the feed, and get ready for the start of the domestic season as well. We'll cover the semi-finals of the World Cup and look back on those games, but look ahead to the likes of Rangers and Hibs and all the fantastic games over the weekend in the Scottish Premiership and beyond. And if you get a chance, hit the subscribe button as well. If you download the app, you get all the breaking football stories too. There's lots of unique video content, and as we mentioned, 5 days a week. It's uncensored, unbiased, unmatched, and it's absolutely free to watch. Thank you for watching today.